watch this until the end. Susan is doing face readings on me, and I want you to see what is happening because Susan will be coming back for a live stream where I will be collecting pictures from members of the audience so she can do readings on them as well. This would be a fantastic opportunity to have a professional face reader actually tell you about yourself using your own features. I hope you enjoy the interview, and I hope you come back for the face reading. Thanks. Today we're joined by another, well, I'm going to say body language expert, but that's only part of it. This is Susan Ibitz, and she may be the most studied practitioner of, we'll say, the dark arts out there. How are you doing today, Susan?
I love the dark side. I have actually one of my idols is Darth Vader, so we're good to go.
Oh, yes, and you collect skulls, right?
Yeah, and I have tattoos with spiders, but today, thanks to you, and I want to be formal for your audience, I'm covering my tattoos and my piercing, so
okay.
Your audience need to be thank you to you.
Well, as long as the skulls aren't from actual people recently deceased, we're good to go.
Wait, you can have real skulls. You
Sure.
can buy real skulls. It's called, do you know what are the 3 more listened podcasts around the world? Serial killers, mental health, and oddities. I feed in 2 of them. Serial killers and oddities. That's my hobby, reading about serial killers. So
Really?
we're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got a plug. I've had Joni Johnston on. We talked about serial killers, and James Fallon, who is a psychopath and a doctor.
Ooh.
He discovered his own psychopathy. Now, let's go ahead and jump in then. You were talking one time about a study where people can smell fear.
Somebody's spying on me. Yes. First of all, smile is more contagious than a flu. Actually, we're putting a study online this week that Coca-Cola and other companies has been doing studies that if you start laughing uncontrollably, people's going to laugh too. And 95% of the people is going to be laughing on a subway wagon. But if somebody sneezes because it's sick, only 35% of the people are going to get the flu. So I always say, but it has to do with empathy. When I want to know if my audience is empath, I start yawning like, if no, the ones who doesn't yawn, I know there are INTJ or that kind of personality. They're not as empath. But going back to fear, every micro expression has to do with an hormone in your brain. So they're not allowing you to find somebody's line, but it allowing you to know what part of the brain you can trigger if you do the studies. So laughing, get oxytocin, happen the same when you shake hands or when you do human interaction, when you make love or somebody like your post in Facebook. The dopamine is happening when somebody intrigue your brain. Now, fear has to do with the hormones has making you fear. It's equal to froze, fight, or flight. So they did this weird study, and I know, bear with me because it's disgusting, but it's work. That's how study works. They make people watch things that really, really fear them. So they put a white t-shirt, they make them take a shower, clean, put a t-shirt, and they make it see things that really, really fear. When after they sweat the fear on the t-shirt, they put it inside a bag. So they have a control people, and they make some of the people smell the t-shirts people who feel fear and the ones who doesn't. They took the saliva and they put it on the brain weight, and they found out that people who smell fear feel fear too. So in person, when people says, oh, the other person cannot smell or cannot determine how I'm feeling, BS is happening. The same way the smile is contagious, the same way fear is contagious. If I do it like, hey, Eric, how you doing? Do you think I'm doing well? I'm doing horrible. Like, you can feel it, you can smell it, whatever way you want to put it, but people can read you. Actually, Masumoto came on January 7, 2011 with the study saying that people who has been born blind and the one who has been born sighted, they have the same micro expression and body language. Mm-hmm. So that's mean that it's coded in our paleo. Actually, Joe Navarro talked about that, and when he came back from Cuba and he was in Miami and he didn't talk the language, on the 70s, he started doing that naturally. He was way advanced to anybody else. Matsumoto came up in 2011 with the study, but Joe Navarro has been doing it. I don't have the pleasure to know him in person, but he came up with the study, and you can read any of his books. Sure. He say it. So people tend to have the same actions on the body, seen or not seen. So
Ekman did that too, though, when he went to Papua New Guinea, because he found tribes that had not been exposed to the same culture here and found that they had the same expressions.
Actually, the one who started with that was Darwin. Actually, Darwin found out that when the people dilate the pupil is when they're aroused, when they have fear too. I think it was 1870. I have this weird brain I remember dates, but I don't remember names. So I think it was 1870 where Darwin found out that when you're fear and aroused, your pupils dilate. Actually, it makes sense to evolution. Pupils dilate when I want to see you completely, and when I'm fear, my pupils dilate, my nostril get bigger because I need to take air because I don't know if I need to run, fight, or flight. Right. So I don't know what is going to happen. Yeah, ventral. So beside a lot of people, Ekman was the one who was well known, and he determined that after going around the world that we have 6 microexpression, and a couple of years later with Friedman, that with his partner on the time, because most people forget that Friedman was working with Ekman at that point, he came up with contempt. The contempt is the only microexpression on the face that's unilateral. And one of the things that happened the most is that I've been demystifying these things like mirror everyone and everybody gonna love you. Like that is a suicide, because most people don't know the difference between smiling and contempt. So go back to the studies. If my paleo brain know that what is you saying, even though I don't know about it, and you mirroring someone like contempt because I think it's a smile, what is going to happen? It says, hey, Eric, how you doing? Do you think I'm liking you? I'm mirroring like, no, you don't like me. I don't like you. This is done. But it's a lot of people talking about because they read a book or they find in somebody else YouTube and repeating things. And like, that's what drives me crazy. People doesn't know what they're talking about.
I'm kind of the belief, and you can set me straight, that we already know all this. It's programmed into us. We have spent our whole lives unlearning what is natural to us. So if a person creeps us out, pay attention. Kind of the Gavin de Becker view is sort of what I think. And people will also point to their pets and they'll say, my cat doesn't like him. You know, say it's a female. And really the cat is reading the female who's picking up things off the male. So the cat's reacting to the owner. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Oh my God, you give us like 5 hours podcast here. First of all, because we are paleo coded about microexpression and body language, the only thing we learn from our parents is to lie. And people get pissed off when I do my keynote speaking and says, hey, we're stimulate dopamine. So if you put me here, it's because the next speaker is boring, so you want me to put the audience here. So when your boss calls and says, Dad, your boss is calling, tell him I'm sick, not that I'm doing the barbecue. Don't tell your dad we went to the mall. I'm going to get you McDonald's. Sure. You don't learn those things. They are coded in your head. So what I'm saying is we don't learn. We fight all the time. Your parents says, don't put that face when your auntie coming with that lemon pie, even if you don't like it. Don't tell your grandmother that she smelled funny. So right. We are get to that point where we are learned from childhood to suppress all that natural things. They said the guts are your second brain. And it's happened to me to get to a party or get to a place and I start feel in my stomach and in the top of my stomach like sick. And I start looking in the room like, who's the person who's making me sick? It's not a psychic thing. It's like...
No, there's a vagal nerve. There are vagal nerve endings actually in there. So you literally can be feeling it, from what I understand. And It's interesting you bring all of that up. We react to whatever is around us.
Yeah, if you're going on a subway and somebody's about to get mugged, people has been interviewing like, I have the feeling that something goes wrong and I didn't act to, because the mugger was fear that because it's inside a subway, he gonna get got. Actually, Elizabeth Ludfoot, she was sued from the 70s, 80s, and 90s from a lot of people because she was telling that you can invent memories in your head. And the psychology in that point was like, oh, you're bulimic, or you have a problem, you have been abused. So some people start creating false memories. Then, oh, my parents abused me, X and Y. And she was sued in one of the biggest cases where a woman was accusing her father to abuse her as a kid. And she bring as an expert. One of the reasons I never ever gonna become an expert in court, and I don't testify in court, but I'm sitting behind and working with lawyers, is because I don't need a BS lawyer destroying my reputation. I know what I know, and I can help from the back. But she put herself out there, and she was saying like, no, I don't think those memories are real. They're construct. After this woman lost the lawsuit, and if I'm mistaken, please, whoever is listening, please correct me, because I was about to be wrong, to be right, not to be cocky, is that she was sued by the woman who lost the lawsuit. And years later, when another psychology worked with her, they found out those memories were embedded. Actually, after that, Elizabeth Ludfoot was working on showing you the Bugs Bunny and showing you a Disney World advertisement and says, do you remember this advertisement? Yeah, I remember. Well, it's not going to happen. Bugs Bunny was with the Warner, and Disneyland was the Princess. They're two different companies. That people are like, oh yeah, I do remember that. So instead to go to the dark side, she decided to like, what about if I can convince you you're not smoking, you're not drinking, you're not eating sugar, that you're not cheating your wife, you don't have certain tendencies. So the dark side can come to the good side. I think this, if somebody have the chance to go and Google her, she have all her studies out there, and like, we can be influenced. Actually, when an accident happened, one of the reasons the police take the testimonial really fast is because you can be influenced by your own memories. Actually, there are cases where if you embed one juror who can make the doubt. Remember the movie 12 Angry Jurors from 1957?
Well, both versions.
The point of that movie is that one person have a doubt, and the other 11 jurors who were sure start doubting about it. And it's an amazing movie because in 1957, we didn't have this complex behavior thing like, okay, what about if one person is the one who embedded the doubt in another one? And he ended up, I'm not going to kill the movie.
People know it, but so To Kill a Mockingbird also had that with Atticus Finch and the mob scene.
Yeah.
By prying one person, he broke the mob. So there are definitely things. And not to name drop, but I have to. I interviewed Ken Lanning from the FBI, and he worked with child sex crimes and wrote about the satanic cases, which was part of the, quote, repressed memories, which actually were probably put in there by psychiatrists, et cetera, not necessarily intentionally. But there was also a daycare center where they had all kinds of charges against them, saying that essentially they had torturing in the basements with Satan, and it got completely out of hand.
Well, I tried to be convinced myself that I never smoke. Haven't happened yet. So I tried. I think I tried to convince me. If I'm trying to apply Elizabeth Ludfoot theory, it hasn't worked yet to me.
I smoked until 2005 and was completely...
How you stop?
It's the hardest thing imaginable. You get a flu that's so bad that it almost kills you, and you can't smoke.
Whoa,
that's how I stopped.
That's hardcore.
I've never been as sick in my entire life. And believe me, I was not just a smoker, but I mean a dedicated smoker. Like I would talk about quitting.
What is a dedicated smoker? Like, Eric, okay, I've been a smoker for 10 years. Tell me, what is a dedicated smoker? I never heard that before.
A dedicated smoker is that I'm not going to quit smoking. I really don't want to quit smoking. And if I try to, I just get more and more aggravated and I want to smoke more. I was somebody in the mindset, if you told me I shouldn't smoke, I would tell you, thanks for stressing me out. Now I'll have another cigarette because you're causing stress on me and you're contributing to the problem. That's a dedicated smoker. That's how bad I was. And I had never had a day since I started smoking when I was 12 or 13. And there you go. Never was able to make it more than a few hours. I did make it through basic training, not smoking. But in 2005, I got so sick because I would smoke if I was sick. I would just cough and, I just have a little extra, right? But that one, I was just so sick.
That is dedication, Eric. Yes. That is dedication.
Yes, rain, sleet, snow, I don't care. I'll just get.
You're the one who wake up at You're the one who wake up at 2:00 in the morning, grab the car, and go to the gas station to grab a pack of cigarettes only because you want to have a puff.
Oh, no. I would not be out to where I'd have to.
Oh, I am that kind of smoker. So let's talk about dedication after this podcast.
I would be prepared. I wouldn't be running out. I would know that I could run out overnight, so I would be out before then. So no way.
Oh, well, you're not only dedicated, you was organized. Good for you.
For smoking. The rest of my life could be a mess, but damn it, I was on track with smoking. Anyway, I literally physically could not smoke. And it lasted for 2 days. And I said, I need 72 hours. I've got 48. I can do it. And
good for you.
Just maintain.
Maybe you can send some of that flu so I stop smoking?
I don't think you want it. I don't think you want it. It was bad. I mean, it was really, really bad. But at least I got one thing good out of it. And
yeah, you know what? You have good things about everything bad. Every time something bad happened to my life, I'm like, Susan, why you don't stop and think why it happened? How much has to do with you? How much has to do with the people around you? And how much has to do with things that you need to change? We are as strong as the people that we surround ourselves. I have 5 mentors that I love to death, and I talk every week. And I have my 5 best friends. They are my biggest critics. I don't call my mom because my mom says, I'm Jewish. Are you getting married? Are you almost 50, but you still can adopt? It's like, so no, you never asked your mom. You asked that 5 people who says, this is BS, Susan. What the heck are you doing? And those 5 mentors who says, slap you on the head, you can do it better. That's the good people you can have. So when I have something bad happening to me, I always ask myself, why this happened, what I have done wrong, and what I need to learn from it. So good that you learn from it. I haven't learned that yet.
Well, you must like Jim Rohn then, because he said you're a combination of your 5 closest people.
All of them should be in a Looney Tune, including me.
Since you're deep into research, Hans Scharf of not negotiation, interrogation.
Which one?
Hans, modern interrogation, I guess, came out of Hans Scharf, who was a Nazi guard or a Nazi interrogator, who actually he taught people. He would get American POWs. And they would be shocked because he would, they'd be taken by the guards out into the forest, and he would just start walking with them. So how are you doing?
Oh yeah, you got more interrogation from. I've never been a 3-letter agency. I'm not former military. I study from them. I study with them, and I still share time with them, and I love it. One of the things that I love when I need to do some kind of interrogation, companies call me to say, oh, we're going to hire a CEO, a really high cajon, and we need to know how this person interact with simple people, employees, and people they don't know. So I don't do it anymore, so I can say it, but I tend to wait on the lobby, like blonde wig, high heels, like pinky suit, and carrying a lot of books. And I'm suddenly about to push the button from the elevator, and all my books fell. So I'm waiting to see if the person pick up my books, help me, and push the elevator button. That is going to tell you a lot about the person and what finger they use to push the elevator button. And if they ask you, what floor are you going? If you're carrying all the things in your hands and people don't ask you what floor you're going, that can tell you a lot about the person that you're going to be dealing with.
What's it telling us? I mean, let's play it out a little bit. We got a good hypothetical.
Depending on the finger you are using, this one is people is impatient. This one is people is orthodox, and and Tom is impatient, this is orthodox, and this is people, sorry, I didn't mean to like this middle finger.
Flip me off with
That is,
one.
yeah, people is like really aggressive. And if you go into an elevator and somebody's carrying all the things on their arm and you are the only two people in the elevator, what the common sense it would tell you, what floor are you going?
Right.
You're a lady, he is a gentleman, he's supposed to ask you. If those basic needs, things happen around you, the person is not aware, what is going to happen when the person is a CEO or is a general manager? How many things is not going to be aware around us?
So you would do that for the prospective CEO, the board would hire you and you would just kind of get a basic read.
So I get out on another floor, I go and change, I used to shave my head, not anymore because people says I come out too aggressive. No idea what they say. So I go to another floor, change, take my wig, put my normal black clothing and says, okay, sir, what is your concept of empathy? Empathy, sympathy, and pity. That's the first question I would do.
I have one question ahead of that though. Do you wait and see if you're recognized? Because that would tell you a lot too. If they said you look familiar or, okay. I would naturally be curious about that if they would recognize who I was or something about me.
I'm going to tell you let's do a dramatic number. It's not there was that number. Let's do dramatic. 100 people, then I did that process. Only 3 of them says, you look familiar, but nobody recognized me from the elevator. They're so on their own head. So what I'm saying is, if you're walking in this way, not seeing what happened around you, you're never going to grow. Right. You don't grow from books. You don't grow from the title that you have. You grow from the people who you interact with. Everybody's an expert in something that you are not. I talk to my Uber driver, my Lyft driver. I talk to the supermarket person when I'm going to pick up my meds in Walgreens. Everybody knows something that I don't know.
Sure.
If you're not willing to listen to other people, even though, for example, my next door neighbor told me that I don't need to cut my grass. I need to get grass that is for the golf course, so only grow 1 inch. So I haven't cut my grass since July 4 last year. Ta-da! That is good to know. Yeah. So if you're not aware, if you're going to be a manager, if you're going to be a person that need to work in team and you're not listen to people, you're not aware that everything happening around you is not going to happen. It's funny when I'm going to host a negotiation conference, a trainer, I know who is who because they're against the wall, never put the hands on the pockets. Like Secret Service, they're never going to see anybody put the hands on the pocket. The wall is against the back is against the walls, and they're looking for the only entrance and exit. They're like in 120 degrees. You can determine. It's funny. Or when you go on a plane, I like to sit next to the marshal and says like, are you carrying the gun on the left or the right foot? And like, how do you know? Like, I nail it only for fun. I get out of the plane more than one time for doing that, so I'm not doing it anymore.
Not all of them have a sense of humor. Oh, my.
What is wrong with people? Dark sense of humor? Hello. If I get to anybody else who have a little sense of what happened,
they
they're going to get
ask
to
how you knew. That really, responsibly speaking, it would be like, why do you say that? And at least try to draw information out of you.
4 times I was kicked out of the plane for doing that joke, so I realized I don't do it anymore. I still find out who's the air marshal, but I don't say it anymore. I'm not in the blacklist. Thank God.
Well, okay, you were talking about you're getting lined up to essentially be qualified, however it's done, in just about every kind of skill through body reading, statement analysis, all the different paths. I'm going to throw one at you. Back in the days in the Soviet Union, everybody would look at the pictures and who was standing where next to the Soviet leader, so you could say, okay, that general's on the way out. We can try to get to them.
Actually, you can. I spent hours and hours. Thank God I was raised in the United States because I would take it by social service. My dad gave me Nietzsche to read when I was 6 years old. But I remember spending time with, light reading. Spend time with my dad watching The Godfather and Columbo. And I remember that my father says, do you know what the person who is the conciliary is always on the left? If you want to know who is on the position of power in a meeting, you're going to determine earth first. You make a joke and you make something require decision, everybody going to be looking on the person who is the power. Second of all, the person on the left is the one who is on the power. The second person on charge is the one on the right. Why? Because left has to do with the right brain, has to do with the emotional part. So if I don't trust you in my heart, I'm not going to trust you in my brain. So I need to be on the left. So whoever's in your left, actually start looking in pictures where you're when your partner or friends, and maybe I get you in trouble, sorry. Start looking who is always in your left and how your body is leaning to that person, and you're going to determine. Yeah, you can determine who is on the way out. Definitely. I never do body language or microexpression for any magazine or media outlet, only for a picture. I always need to see the video to see the context. But you can determine what the position of people is getting, who is the power and not power, and who is on the way out. You can see some people on the government, they're suddenly we're next to the president and suddenly they're on the left corner of the picture, like, oh my God, we're going to have the news next week.
Well, with Trump, it's perfect because he's a Palace Games kind of guy. But I just wanted to throw it out there because I don't hear people talking about it a lot. But I think that was a great use of, like, a lot of the skills you have, just an older use of it.
I found out I was Jewish when I was on my late 30s. And I went to Europe to find out the lineage of my family. That's when I changed my last name. And one of the conquer when I was in Austria, I decided to go to Germany because one of my dear friends lived in Czech Republic and we met there. So we went to Berlin, Auschwitz, all the parts around. And at that point, I was really seriously thinking to move to Germany because I like the structure they have. And I went to the museums, I see the pictures, and one of the things that get my attention the most is during the Soviets and all these things, horrible things happen, all the knock on the doors are like be above 6 feet. And everybody in Germany was like no more than 6'2", the highest. So why the knock on the doors is like to make them feel they're bigger. All the doors are double size than what you're going to see in any other part of the world. And all the knocks then you can need to open the door were between 4 feet and 6 feet. It's impossibly do that. All the knots are like 3 feet above the floor. This one were 4 and 6 feet, meaning that when you look the doors and you look the knots so high, like, oh my God, I supposed to feel intimidated. So that's the Nazi propaganda, it get to your head.
Wow, so that's like interviewers that sit in a higher chair than everybody in the room.
One of the things that I've been doing for the last 4 months, and in the beginning was kind of not a bad joke, but like, who's going to need this training until we put it out there and we like killing with that. It's like how to do body language for video. And people is like usually putting the camera down or putting the camera to up and like, okay, let's put this. You are talking with someone and your phone is down. What is the feeling that give you? If you are in a real meeting and somebody put you in a small chair and you're in a tall chair and you look down to the person, how are you going to make that person feel small? So why are you doing that with your phone? Because it's a video like doesn't change. The protocols, how you should be addressing the situation and putting 90 degree doesn't change. And I have like, I would say 7 or 8 more keynote speaking in the next couple of weeks in Chamber of Commerce and institution where they want me to talk about how to do video language on video. And in the beginning, and I should own my ignorance and like, because it's that thing that because you know about it, you assume that everybody knows the same. Like my accountant assumed that I know when is my due date. No, never. I always ask for an extension. So the same way I assume that everybody knows it, and actually become one of the classes that we have been selling the most because people want to know like how to illuminate, where you're sitting, how you should be dressing, how you be addressing, showing your hands, showing your torso. And people are like, And the feedback we had, like, oh my God, this class was amazing. And like, I didn't tell you anything new. It's like cleaning your closet every
Sure.
spring and like, oh my God, I forgot I have that amazing Harley Davidson t-shirt. Now I can ride my Harley with the t-shirt and the jacket too. It's matching. Good. It's the same. It's refreshing what happened, but you're completely right. If we can go to the past and stay to fighting the history we have and learning from it, how Hitler become who he was without killing anyone, how Charles Manson make so many people kill other people, Waco, and we start studying the past and understand how that people was influenced into other ones. Influence, influencer, and call effect. People are so rejecting that idea that nobody's studying that. It actually, most of the worst tyrants that we have in the story, they don't kill anyone. Actually, all of them were short. You know that? All of them were below
Napoleon. That's why they call it the
5'5".
Napoleon complex.
Nobody was high. So they make on attitude and aptitude what they don't have in height. So instead to fighting with story and like, oh, Hitler was this and Castro was this, like, learn how they did it. Because you can take something bad and become it in something good and vice versa. It's not about if I sell you a car. If you choose to drink and drive, it's your problem. It's not the car that I'm giving you.
All true. All true. So while we're here, you are famous for reading faces. And I had a question ahead.
Define the concept of famous. Define the concept of famous, because you have people in your show that like really admire. Those are famous. I'm a chick with a couple of certifications.
All right. Well, you have a knack for reading faces and are known amongst people we know for doing that. And I wanted to ask you to do it, but I also wanted to ask you a question. You brought up Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, I'm guessing, about doing, and I guess it's called, let me see if I can say it, physiognomy.
Yes.
And is that why he very famously had his, quote, team of rivals?
Yes, correct. He was a well-known, okay, only to let you know, physiognomy is not belong to the California psychic. It doesn't belong to any of this, the big ball. Like, this is happening for 5,000 years. Not only the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, the Judaism have it on the Torah called Zohar. This has been happening for more than 5,000 years. The reason you don't listen, you don't hear about it is because I think that professionally doing this around the world, we're 17 people. 13 or 14 I'm doing it more on the Chinese way, Oriental way to healing. The other 4 or 5, 2 are my mentors, they're retired, and 2 or 3 people are doing it. I'm the only one kind of doing publicly. The other people is like still working with politicians, political campaign and lawyers. So if you think that every lawsuit happen on top of $1 million, you win because you're good, no, because they have somebody like me picking your jury. One of the biggest things that we are making money, people who read faces, is picking board jury selection and reading people. So happen. So yeah, that's one of the things that I do. And Abraham Lincoln was really well known because he never chose anybody on his cabinet based on the resume. He chose the people, says, I want to see their faces. When he died, they found a couple of boxes that I went to the Washington Library in DC to look for this information. They found a couple of boxes where he had pictures and had lines based on the faces. And that's how he chose people. So Abraham Lincoln was one of. I learned it a couple of years ago.
No, where did he learn it?
He learned it. I don't know that. And you know what? I've been trying to find out how he learned it, but
maybe Pinkerton. Did Pinkerton do it? No, I'm asking because you were talking about how uncommon it is. Well, it's something from the Orient or Asia, whatever the proper term would be at the time. It's not like it would be a common thing for him. So I'm wondering if maybe Pinkerton?
You know what? Most people who does face reading, they don't talk openly about it because they're afraid to be attacked. I get to a point after turn 40, I don't care if you attack me. If you attack me, Thank you very much. That's Machiavelli says, and Oscar Wilde, you measure your success for how many enemies you have. So welcome to the club. Thank you very much. But not a lot of people talk about it. And most of this has happened to generations. When you talk with people who is Chinese or is coming from the Oriental part of the world, not the Western part of the world, they're going to tell you, oh, my grandmother know it, my mother know it, and they know that way. Professional way as a Western people, we need to go to a lot of training. And I still take every day 1 hour to go through people. And what I do in the summer is I rent a booth in those fairs and I put free face reading. And says, people, what is the trick? Nothing. I want to read your face, and I'm doing studies and new features that I never found before. It says, I just want you to tell me what you think about that. I see the piercing in your ear. I will guess X and Y. Can you corroborate or not? You have your free face reading. So it's still training, and because you cannot. I always says, doesn't matter how many papers I have, and people get like, ooh, you have all the certification. There are papers to tell me that I finished the class. But
That's
hard
when the
work,
training starts.
that's where it starts, because you need to honor the people who sign your paper. That's when you need to honor people like the one who introduced and like, oh, you need to talk to her. How you win that with respect, training every day, and getting your things done. So who trained Abraham Lincoln? If you can find it, I will love you forever. I haven't found that yet.
I'm just
But you want me to
speculating.
read your face?
Sure. I don't know if I want you to, but it's a matter of making it entertaining for everybody else, and why not?
How far should I go? I can read 235 things. Only to let you know, when I was doing political campaign, people says like, okay, tomorrow we have a presentation with this person, and like I can give you a folder of 50 pages only for your face reading.
Okay,
So
well, we
I'm
want
not-
to
without
keep it
going
within
to
a few
all
minutes of time. I mean, you can send me more later if you want, but just for the idea of the show being within an hour would probably be good.
Okay. Have your wife ever complained that you don't talk about feelings? You're talking about how you're doing. If I says, Eric, how are you feeling? You're gonna say, how I'm doing. It's not that you don't have feelings. You don't talk about it. You rationalize your feelings and you talk how you're doing, but you don't talk about that, and except if somebody's who's really near to your heart.
Yeah, probably. I'll get into semantics maybe. Like, I will, personally, if you say, ask me a question, I might say something back. Like if you say, how you doing, I might say without. So that's just my own little personal thing. And that's to see your reaction. Because half the time you'll say, how are you doing? I'll say without, and you'll say, fine, thank you.
Because it has to do with your chameleon eyebrows. You have a chameleon eyebrows. You're the kind of person that you can be in the corner paying attention to how everybody is interacting. You like to see the show from outside. It's like, let's go back to the Roman time where the gladiators were fighting. You were never going to be the person cheering or getting on the gladiator arena. You're going to be in the corner looking for it until it's the time to wake up that lamp, and you're going to be the center of the attention. You have that magic that you can be the center of the attention on the corner observing people. You like to observe things from outside. You don't like to be center of the fight. You like to see the fight from outside.
That's fair.
It's fair. Okay, do you know what is the biggest problem you have?
What's that?
That you take everybody's dropping, cleaning on the floor and take it as your responsibility. You feel that you need to be fixing everything. Like your kids didn't take the trash, you're going to take the trash. Your best friend have a problem, you want to take care of the problem. You take care of everybody else's problem, and sometimes you don't take care about yourself. So because you're
That's
all
half
helping
true.
everyone.
Half
What is
true.
half true?
That's
Tell me half true.
Because I can be as irresponsible as anybody else, and I might be the one leaving a pile. I make my wife crazy because I have, quote, piles. I'll leave stuff stacked around. Now, I do try to fix people's problems, and I try to connect people. And I'll go out
I
of my way
didn't
to
talk
do that.
about how you are. I'm saying what you do.
Okay.
I says what you do, and your biggest problem is you're fixing things out of other people and you neglecting your own. Leaving your pile of clothing can be related for you taking care of your kids' pile of clothing so you don't take care of your own. Make sense what I'm saying before?
Okay.
You can review the recording. It says, you're taking care of everybody, but you don't take care of your own. Another thing, you're really playful. You can be that kind of friend that you can lift me up. If I have a bad day and I need to be like talking about something and you're going to be funny and playful, I would talk to you because you're really, really good in your personal and your business side, keeping secrets. As you're the kind of guy they're going to put a fucking gun on the head, but you're not going to talk about other people's secrets. You know how to hold that.
I'm pretty good about that, yeah.
Another
I think
thing.
you say I'm KG, yes.
Yeah, you're KG. Another thing, you're created. What is? I think that this space is your created side. You always have this created side. You're like creative. You're thinking outside the box. You're like the aesthetic creator of things. I would think that this podcast and this podcast on video is your created side. You're like certain aesthetic about things.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm falling into over time. I wanted to do a podcast for a long time. It took me a long time to actually do it. So, yeah, I would say that's my creativity. I tried to do drama at one time on stage. Never was really super successful.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Have ever happened to you, and don't tell anyone because your guest doesn't need to know. You used to be accused to interrupt people verbally. So you teach yourself to stop interrupting people verbally, but you interrupt people in your head. Your questions come in faster than people is talking to you and like, oh, come on, dude, you told me about taking the trash 3 times, like next, move. Your brain is going too fast. So you learn, because you're politically correct, to not interrupt verbally. But sometimes you never find your lips like moving, even though you're not talking, because your brain is talking for you. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. Move on. So you have that impatience that you have the next 3 questions, even though when the person didn't finish the first one.
I have that and a short attention span, though, so I'll forget my questions.
Yeah.
So I'll have one. That's sometimes why I'm quietly typing, because I will think of a question while somebody's talking, but then I'm going to lose track because I'm still listening. And then I might come up with another question, or I might distract myself while I'm doing it, but I need to circle back to the first one.
Can I see at least let's talk about your work business side. Can I see your right ear?
Sure. How much to?
A little higher.
Here.
Okay.
I don't know. You can't.
Ooh, okay. You're pragmatical like a surgeon.
Hold on.
Okay, you need to put your headphone.
There we go. What?
You're pragmatical like a surgeon. You process information really fast. That's the reason you're impatient. You're visual. You want to see. You learn better when you can see. You like to learn in a class when you can interact with others, but you can get visual overloaded. Some people can say that you're not connected with situations because you make decision. You think about things, you make the decision, and after that you consider what other people feelings, and you ask like, you told me to fix it. Why need to be considering everybody's feeling? It need to be done. It's practical. I think about it, do it, and after that, the outcome, it need to be done. So that's how it says about you.
Okay. So just to back up, that way everybody get the benefit. What are you drawing on to get conclusions? Like you mentioned the eyebrows being one thing. I don't know if, when I was listening to you interview, I was like, I don't know if mine are round or angular or somewhere in the middle.
You like facts and data. You don't like people going around with too much BS. Let's get to the point. How much is going to cost? How is going to serve me? What is going to be the guarantee?
Sure. But what is it that you're seeing?
Oh.
So I'm just saying, you'll break down the feature so then that way
You never
people
asked
can
a
get
lady. You never asked a lady the age, if they take sugar or substitutes, and if it's married or not. Those are the 3 things you never ask to a lady. So asking about the secrets is like getting to that page. Okay. I read Can you turn your head to where your Eric sign is located completely? I need a 180 degree. Okay, you never ever in your life are gonna work 9 to 5. You can shoot your foot on it. You're created, you are not standard like 9 to 5. How I know that? Your forehead is round, you see mine is flat. I'm an engineer, you're a thinker, and you're thinking outside the box. Mine, I'm a perfect IKEA furniture builder. You're not. You like to think outside the box. You probably only for teasing and pissing at your wife, you're going to put the furniture even without reading the instruction. And she's going to go crazy and you're going to have fun for that. I can know that for your round. So one of the things that people is freaking out now is how am I going to be reading with people with a mask? Actually, the most important thing is ears is how we intake information. Small meaning they're your visual. Your ears are small compared to your face. They're higher than the level of the eyes, so meaning that you process information really fast. If I want to sell something to you because you have high ears, small ears, and low proxemic, meaning the distance between the eyebrows and your eyelids, is you want to do it now. So you can be impulsive if I give you the right visual stimulus.
Could be. Usually if I'm there, I'm already a buyer, though. So, because
You're the one
I'm not
who says
going to...
11:45, I'm gonna get a car when the dealership closes at noon?
If I go to a dealership, I'm buying a car. I'm not there because I want to hang out. That's just a practical thing. If I'm going to buy a computer, I did the research ahead.
Yeah, I know, because you're facts and data. I need to know, I need it, what is the best one, what is the best place to go? Going for it. You like facts and data. And I would says that you like proven methodology. In order for you incorporate new things, they need to be proven to you there's right. Nobody's going to come to say like, oh, I have all these diplomas, you believe on me? Like, no, prove me you're right. Prove me those diplomas are not only papers and you pay for it and somebody give it to you. Prove me that you know what you're doing. You're the kind of person that I wouldn't go with a folder full of diplomas and says, okay, Eric, what do you want me to prove you? What do you want me to tell you that I can do for you that is feeding your needs? And that's the way I would work with you.
That's fair. So I know I haven't since every job I've had since 2000 has been written off my resume.
People aren't reading your resume?
I will get to know people and then they will want me for a job and they create the job literally off of the resume I hand them.
Wow.
So that's
impressive.
That's kind of what I guess to me that's sort of a pride point. Like rather than asking me what my degree is, and the same way I don't care if somebody has a degree. I might even hold it against them. Depends.
Well, I don't have a PhD, master's degree, so you cannot hold anything against me because I don't have any of those. But phrase reading is not, what I'm saying about phrase reading is like most of the problem with communication is a bridge that everybody's burning. Mm-hmm. Most couples, they don't understand each other because they have different ears, different eyebrows, and different proxemic. If somebody is visual, gonna tend to look down because they want to hear what you're saying. But somebody's visual, you need to show them. I want to take you on a vacation to Hawaii. I need to show you the resort, the food table, the beach, and how much lazy you can be on that 2 weeks. If I tell you about it, you're like, oh God, what is gonna be like? Until you don't get, you enjoy it. But instead to fighting with your process, I need to show you how is the process. So I need to show you what you want. So can you imagine in a couple, or in a business situation, or in a managed situation, or even in an interrogation situation, I know that you can get A, visual overloaded, B, that you're visual, so I need to use visual aids, and how to work with those visual aids, and how long I need to use it. So I always say physiognomy on face reading doesn't help you to confess someone, but it's a GPS to how your brain thinks. So instead to take me 90 days to determine how you are, I can do it in 90 seconds. And in person, as near I have the person, I can see the wrinkles. One of the things that I told you, you're really playful. You must be like the guy's going to go with you to Vegas because they're going to have a blast, even if they don't leave the room. because
I'm
you're
really
going to come
not
up
that
with.
outgoing though. That may be a deception.
I didn't say.
I'm more of
I
the
didn't say
sarcastic
outgoing.
guy in the corner.
Wait. I didn't say outgoing.
Okay.
You're the kind of person I says playful. I didn't say outgoing. I says you're the dark sense of humor.
Okay. Well,
You are the yeah. You are the kind of black sense of humor. You are the sarcastic one, and you are playful, but doesn't mean you are outgoing. I'm playful, but I can be hiding on the forest for 2 months.
Right.
But when I talk to my friends, I'm out there and I'm making this weird joke. Like you sent me the email last night, like, hey, I see you tomorrow. Like, wait, it's a recording? Do you know how long it takes to this age to get camera ready? Sure. That was a dark sense of humor. Mm-hmm. And you got it because you get the same one. But other people was just like, I told you it would go to the serious part. You take it as it is and you laugh about it. That's your kind of sense of humor. I'm not saying that you're extrovert.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you like to be networking person. Is that you're playful. Playful is to be like, you're going to be doing those jokes to your wife that she's going to be open the oven and you're going to put a snake on the oven and you're going to be laughing with your kids outside like, oh my God, you really fell from that? Or you're going to be doing those jokes that are intelligent? No, you're not going to go to be tacky or rude or use words that are not appropriate to make a nice joke. Your jokes are going to be on the level of intelligent. So who doesn't get it is the people you're going to get away from your circle. You're going to go with the ones who got it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's fair for you is, I think, it's a kind of approval. Knowing you is kind of approval.
Well, I think everything over, and if I say that's fair, then I say, yeah, that matches. If I don't know or I'm confused, I'll ask questions. Like multiple times through this, one element of me is I do not consider myself an expert in anything, and I have no problems being proven wrong. And I will ask a question. If I don't know, I will ask.
Well, you're self-made person. Do you see those pouches you have on top of your eyebrows? Those things that make people can make fun. No. You see those things on top of your eyebrows? That's that is a will pad. That's mean that doesn't matter how many times they tell you it's wrong, it's not going to be done. You're going to keep going and going. You're like a bull going against the wall, and doesn't matter how, they can tell you the wall is still concrete. You don't care. Your point is to knock that wall. So you're going to use your intelligence and your strength to knock that wall. So even though you're going to hire somebody to do it, or you're going to do it by yourself, that's your will pad. That's how you're going to get it. You don't care if they when somebody tell you no, you grow an inch. Instead to lower an inch, you're going to grow an inch. Like now I have a new thing that I'm going to conquer. I'm going to knock the wall because you tell me I cannot do it. I'm going to show you I can. But that's where you put you are where you are. One of the good things about face reading is not only that you can use it for many things in your life, but is that you can learn yourself. And things that maybe people told you that were wrong, and people told you that you're not on the right path. When I had my face read for the first time, all the things that I was under the impression that were wrong because other people criticizes, my first training says that's who you are. And the reason you are where you are and took you longer, but you never give up, is for that reason. So we never, ever, by any circumstances, change those things in your face. So certain wrinkles, I leave it there because I know I'm a fighter. And Abraham Lincoln, that the 45-degree too. Then I found I have an accident 80 years ago, and I was in a wheelchair, and I told I never gonna be working again. And after 2 years, my cheeks changed in 45 degrees. And even one of my trainers says, what happened with your cheeks? Like, what do you mean? And I asked my doctor to give me an MRI from the first time that I have an accident. 2 years later, my bone cheeks move, swear on my heads.
Wow.
So your face is a reflection of what is happening. Our face change every 7 years.
That was going to be my question for you, actually. And then I'm going to wrap up because of time. But I would like to see if you would be willing to come on to what we have. I have a live stream.
Ooh, let's do that. Let's read people.
Right. Well, the idea is that people can ask questions of you on the live stream. So I would like to set something up with you afterward. But to close out, one last question, and it's this.
Yes, sir.
On our faces, is it a cart and horse situation? Like, do our actions and our beliefs and what we do shape our face, or does the shape of our face drive what we do?
I'm going to answer with an example because I think it's the strongest thing that happened to me. I have pictures of my eyebrows when I was 29, 39, and now. When I was 29, my eyebrows were round. Mm-hmm. When I was 39, I was going through a horrible divorce, an accident, and I was in a wheelchair, and I didn't have any eyebrows. Like my eyebrows was flat, linear, and no eyebrows. Around 5 years ago, I took to another of the profilers on the company and says, I have the feeling that this is going to represent in me. So I talked to a person that I work. When you work in political campaigns, you have your Botox people, your surgical people, you have a crew coming to you. So I talked to my girl and says, I need these eyebrows. And like, are you sure? Like, yeah. Was between 4 or 6 months later, I went to my dermatologist and says, my eyebrows are growing on top of my tattoo. How the heck that happened? What is the pigment? And says, I haven't found in 10 years of dermatology doing pigments anybody who grow hair on top of the tattoo. It's none of the pigment. It's like, I still don't know how you did it. Do you know what I mean? Internally, my head was telling me that's the person I'm become. Pointy eyebrows as I need to be run right based on knowledge. I read everything. I've been attacked more than one time in LinkedIn, Facebook, and I can pull a book and a chapter and tell you, you need to read this person, this chapter, this. I want to be right based on knowledge. And if you prove me wrong and I made a mistake, instead to tell you, oh, I cautioned you, like, let me go back to you when I found out what I was wrong because it's unacceptable and go back. Those are pointy eyebrows and those are eyebrows that I have. And I used to be procrastination by perfection. That's meaning that your eyebrows are thick on the beginning and thin on the end. Now my eyebrows are the same length, meaning that everything that I start, I end it. I never been so productive like in the last 2 years of my life. And that's what's happened with my eyebrows. You want to believe? You don't want to believe? I always says to religion, God exists, show me proof. Until then, it's an anecdote. It's happened the same to me when the first time I had my face red and said, oh, this is BS. This guy cannot know. Until I was proof, then I was wrong. And that become my cult. It's one of the things that people know me. We was introduced for that, like, oh, you need to meet this woman. She's freaky, like she can do, like, believe it or not, I can do it. And I believe that changes happen on your brain and happen in your face. What coming first? We haven't found any of the people doing this, a study who prove what coming first, but I do believe it's happened. So what you feel inside, go for it. It's like the second brain on the guts. It says, like, go with your guts. If your face is telling you do something, go for it. It's something telling you. It's a reflection of what you're thinking. It's a reflection of what you're doing. But it's, at the end, it's helping you to become the best version you can be. What the heck? What not?
What a great note to end on. So people can find out more at humanbehaviorlab.com?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll have to set up that live stream.
Oh, yeah, I want people sending pictures. Let's go there.